Hey there, I am going to be talking about how to build a metric tree in Count, specifically how we built this metric tree here. But before I dive into the specifics, I want to go over a few things about Count that might be different from other data tools that you're used to using. So first off, the first thing that you'll notice if I zoom out here, you'll see I'm not in a SQL IDE, I'm not in a typical dashboard environment, I'm in an infinite canvas. So if you're familiar with tools like Miro or FigJam, this paradigm of the whiteboard will be really familiar. So I can add objects in here, I can make flowcharts, all these kinds of things. I can add text, sticky notes, all the things that you'd expect of a whiteboarding tool like a Miro or FigJam. And that's important to note because we're in a much more flexible environment, which will come into play when we talk about the visual flexibility required for building a metric tree. It's important to note that we're not being bound in a grid. We have all these other objects and things to play with in the context of the whiteboard. Right, so let's talk about data. So obviously Count is a data tool. We've got plenty of data features in here. And let's first talk about cells. So cells are the main way that you interact with data, how you bring data into the canvas. If you think of them like SQL queries, so this is some SQL and it's going directly to our BigQuery database, pulling back some live results in here. As you can see, that just ran. Now again, this isn't embedded data, this is live data in here. Now what makes cells unique is that each of these cells isn't independent. I can actually build upon my cells as I go. So what I mean by that is, let's say I want to analyze the results of this query here. I can create another cell and I can say, maybe I want to do some aggregation, some streams. And now I've referenced, as you can see, this cell C, and that's this cell right here. So if I were to change cell C, let's say I want to make this limit 10, then cell D is going to update as well. So this is all reactive. All these cells are connected to each other. And this is good for a few reasons. Primarily, we did this for transparency reasons. So instead of having a really complex SQL with nested CTEs and all this kind of stuff, you can break this apart. It makes it much easier to actually see what's going on. When you bring other people into the canvas, it's much easier to follow, but also for efficiency reasons. So if I need to have several kind of downstream queries based on cell C, then I can just have C once and have all these other queries kind of branching off of it. Now, of course, with any kind of data tool, especially when we're talking about metric trees, we need to talk about visuals. So, of course, you can visualize data and count. I can visualize any of these cells that I've made by hitting this visual button here. There's a whole library of visualizations, as well as the custom visual builder, so there's not many things that you can't do. We also have Python cells, and so you can visualize things using Python as well, but our built-in visualization library is pretty impressive as well. So that's important to note, is kind of how we can build visuals off of any of these objects. We also have things like control cells. So obviously in any kind of reports, you might want to add filters or things for your end users to play with. And we have these control cells are called, but let users interact with different elements. And again, this feeds into the queries themselves like this. So those are kind of the core things to know about Count before we dive into how specifically to make a metric tree, especially if we talk about this one. So now let's dive into how this actually works. So for this example, we have a couple cells. Now, in this case, we've brought in some CSV data, as you can see here. We have these 3 different CSV files. Again, in a business context, you're probably going to bring in data directly from BigQuery and Snowflake, like I showed in the example. But for this, we've got some CSV files. Now, these CSV files are then being transformed using some SQL. So we can see here, we've got kind of a summarized table built up. We've got another one here coming from this cell products. And then this weekly metrics, as you can see from the arrows, is actually combining final purchases and products, or bringing 2 different CSV files together and merging them here in this weekly metrics. So we've got the kind of raw data that we need to build up the metrics that we care about. Now, in this case, we've already kind of structured it the way that we want, but you can imagine maybe this started, here and here, and we built out some visuals as we go. And so we can see that this visual here, which is revenue, is coming from this weekly metrics in here. So we built out this visual, like I said, using the visual builder. And then it becomes a matter of layout. So how do we want to lay this information out? How do we want it to be seen? And that's where the power paradigm of the metric tree comes in. So you can obviously, we can build this out whatever way makes sense. So we started at profit at the highest level. We've worked our way down into revenue and COGS, customers, as we go, like this. So now we've kind of broken this down, this high level metric, into all of its drivers. And what's more is that this is connected to live data in the same place. So if someone has a question about this, we don't have to go back to some query we saved on our computer somewhere. We have it, the actual query is right here. If we want to make a change to it, if we want to add some filters to it, it's all pretty instantaneous as we go. Now we can, of course, when we're ready to share this, we can invite people in and they can look at it just like this. People can add sticky notes and comments and things. Maybe they've got questions about what's going on. They can do that. But we also have another way to share this kind of information, which is in report mode. So if I were to take all of this and put it into a frame, which you can see these cells are also in a frame, this can be kind of moved around like this, but it also means we can share it differently. So I can go up here and I want to share this frame here. If I go into report mode, then I can share this kind of detached way of looking at it. So again, if you want to share things like this, people can still add comments and all sorts of things here. And then maybe they want to come back into the canvas and see actually how things are built. So that is a really quick intro to how to make metric trees in Count. I hope that's helpful. Let me know if you've got any other questions. Bye.